I'm Sally.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is Good Morning America.
With the fall of post-World War II and the rise of the 50s era, America has finally stepped back into the golden light of triumph and unity amongst its sovereign people, to some sort of degree. Beneath the delicate illusion of luxurious spending, social class jumpers, and a vibrant attitude of settling down and building up, America begins twisting into a darker form, flinching under the weight of McCarthyism and the spread of communism. The one where people were allegedly snitched on and tried for being accused as a communist and plotting against the government and all it's worked for. If you thought Nazis could cause absolute chaos in the minds of the people in the 40s, communists were the equivalent and far worse in the 50s. But I'm not going to talk about that. Economically, consumerism is a must in the daily lives of a 1950s society. Thanks to the wartime production during the Second World War, it not only helped the country shake off the remains of the Depression, but it helped shoot the economy through the roof. People began spending more and more money on non-essentials and luxury items, partly because they had been deprived of those things for 2 decades, partly just because, why not? With more people wanting to go beyond the limits of the norm, fast food chains became the latest craze, such as McDonald's and Whataburger, replacing the shared family time and quality of eating together into a last-minute thought. Everything was about striving for the best, wherever one was to go, making department stores, drive-ins, shopping malls, even diners to appeal to the growing masses, especially those who were teens. The idea of wealth over substance in order to fit in with the rest became a frequent recurrence in the 1950s, much like the 1920s, shaping and molding the economy to balance a social craving for something the people could not afford and that of material wealth.
Contrasting from the affluence of the skyrocketing economy, the waves of a modern family lifestyle was much more subtle, almost to the point of conformity and conservation. In a never-ending competition to conform, families compared themselves to their neighbors in regards of material wealth. Most would see it as a comfortable, easygoing, and supportive ideal. Society became packed into neighborhoods such as Levittowns, allowing the middle class to grow and people to settle down in areas that were once empty of any diversity, owning at least 2 cars in every garage and a TV in every household. While the white majority moved into a more organized atmosphere, aka the suburbs, blacks headed north to find the same opportunities of the ones who left, only to find disappointment, discrimination, and disillusionment of the American dream.
Women at this time also suffered, entering the 50s expecting bigger and better opportunities, but instead had to push aside their dreams, reduced back into the home, becoming once again the strong motherly figure. Evidently leading to the baby boom that will spark the rebellion of the younger generations to come and making a path for their own future in the next decade. Some popular sitcoms right now are I Love Lucy, Happy Days, Leave It to Beaver, and The Honeymooners. These all show women's roles as housekeepers and traditional family caretakers and stress the role of women in that way. They influence them to play their part in the role. And speaking of sitcoms, it's time for our pop culture segment on Good Morning America. Me and Sandy here are going to play a little game where we try to guess the song that's played, and whoever guesses more songs correctly wins the competition. Alright, now Lisa, if you would please play the first song.
Spider-Man played the saxophone. Little Joe blowing on the slide trombone. Drama spoken and I know it's right boom bang. The whole rhythm section was a purple game. Let's roll. Everybody, let's roll. Everybody,
So got it? That is Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley.
Yay!
So win this one. It is on.
I'll get the next one.
Alright, now, okay, Lisa, I guess we're ready for round number 2.
that you adore and love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game.
This one. This one is so hard.
With love and make it.
Man, I don't listen to this kind of music.
Please don't bring it.
It's my favorite.
Was made for me and you.
LOVE by Nat King Cole. Yeah.
Alright. So we'll get this last one.
Oh, woman, oh, woman, oh, treat me so mean, so mean, so
This would be Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles.
Oh,
Yes.
dang it.
Yes, the Greasers beat the Socials.
Oh,
Always.
I'm sorry.
Always.
Good job.
Well, thinking of stars like Elvis Presley, another really big star is Marilyn Monroe. There's a lot of talk about like the sexuality of rock and roll and the new music and movies by big stars such as Marilyn Monroe, and how it's kind of inspiring the youth culture today to kind of rebel against their parents. I think it's great. I mean, who wants to conform?
Well, some of the more classier stars are Frank Sinatra. He's a jazz singer of this age, and some people with more grace and poise are Grace Kelly and Audrey Hepburn. They're, in my opinion, much classier.
Well, of course you'd say that. You're Soch.
Well, you're a greaser, so we don't
I
really
guess.
match.
I guess we will just have to agree to disagree on some things. Anyways, thank you for watching, viewers. This concludes this segment of Good Morning America.
So, to conclude today's episode of Good Morning America, the pressing influence of living in suburbia in the 1950s, surrounded by competitive neighbors all trying to be the best, along with the pressure of the media to be a perfect family like those seen on television, had the real-life families of the 1950s stuffing themselves into a conformative box. With the rise of the economy came a fluctuation of stores and businesses that lured the children and teens of the decade away from their homes and into the world where businesses marketed their products to teens. The influence of worldly life paired with a daring turn in pop culture resulted in many teens desiring to leave the stuffy, perfect family behind. The rise of rock and roll with stars like Elvis Presley pushed newfound sex appeal on the younger generations with suggestive dances like his famous hip thrust. Other stars like Marilyn Monroe, one of the most famous actresses in American history, also pushed sexuality on teens with the mass media portrayal of risque outfits and racy photos of her in magazines such as Playboy. Yet still, other famous stars like James Dean, who's best known for his lead role in the movie Rebel Without a Cause, promoted the idea of rebellion being a good thing. When the children and teens of the 1950s grew into young adults, the desire to rebel had taken over and pushed them to actually rebel in their young adulthood during the 1960s. Had it not been for the suburbanization and stiffness of life growing up, the baby boomer generation probably wouldn't have transformed America life into the 60s that affects the way we live today. I'm Sandy, and on behalf of Lisa and Sally, this has been Good Morning America. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Walking through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard those knocked out jailbirds sing.